Metaverse Street Journal.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, we're here with Mr. Tim Draper. He doesn't need an introduction. How does it feel to be here, Mr. Tim?
It's exciting. The Paris Blockchain Conference is always, this week is always one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And very exciting to be here. How about you? Are you making a lot of progress here?
Yeah, it's our first time, and this is the official after movie of Paris Blockchain Week, so we're having a great time.
Good. I'm happy to be talking to the Metaverse Street Journal.
Absolutely.
I like this.
Absolutely.
Is there a Metaverse Street? Is it the one in
In-
Bangalore where
in-
you guys are?
In the Metaverse, for sure.
Yeah,
There is
good.
a Metaverse Street.
Okay, good.
But yeah, the reason I wanted to talk to you here is I want to understand from not only a perspective of a VC, what is it that you think is the difference between an American Web3 ecosystem and a European Web3 ecosystem? You may go in Asia because obviously you have investments in India, but from a VC's perspective, what do you see the difference between European and American Web3 ecosystem?
Well, the whole point of Web3 is decentralization, right?
Yeah.
So they should all be the same
Yeah.
because we're all trying to decentralize all of our activities
Yeah.
so that they're more secure, they're more trustworthy, they're better, they operate more efficiently, everybody feels better about them, the economy grows, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
So this Web3 world that we're getting into is all of us.
Yeah.
Now, we're stuck with whatever governments that we're in.
Yeah.
And those governments, either they're strong governments who promote freedom and trust and rule of law, or they're weak governments that are trying to tell everybody what to do.
Yeah.
And the weak governments are not going to benefit from the Web3 world, and they're going to go flatline in a world that takes off. And the strong governments that are promoting trust and freedom, they're going to do really well. And when I was last in India, I saw that government is quite a strong government. I'm seeing a lot of freedom, a lot of trust, a lot of things happening. It's very exciting.
Absolutely.
The U.S., it always swings one way or another based on the political winds.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll swing toward freedom.
Absolutely.
And then Europeans, it's interesting. I mean, I'm starting to see a little bit more of this freedom and trust happening, but then countries can almost not move without all the other countries saying okay.
Yeah.
So I think that something needs to break there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me put a hypothetical question to you. Since you said a lot depends on the politics of the world, should it be a precursor that you manage a city in the metaverse before you're allowed to run for elected office?
Oh, I love that. You know, we have something called Draper Nation that we're building.
Yeah.
That is a world in the metaverse.
Yeah.
And we've got all these sort of freedom kind of rules coming. And it's very funny because we know that that's a trial and error thing.
Absolutely.
And we're going to try some different things. And it probably is a good idea for anyone who's going to try to be any kind of politician or even a bureaucrat. And definitely if you're going to be a dictator, you definitely need to do something in the metaverse first.
Absolutely.
And then eventually it'll all be in the metaverse. We'll have competing nations in the metaverse that won't have any land tied to them. And no land rules, no whatever. It'll all be up there.
Absolutely. Let me ask a controversial question. Feel free to decline to answer if you would like to. Since we're in 2024,
Too controversial.
are we
Whatever it is, too controversial.
are we going to see a Biden verse versus a Trump verse this year?
You know what I think? You know, I was a Nikki Haley fan. I was really pushing for Nikki Haley. And we were just about to do a debate between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump in a deep fakes, with deep fakes. And we did it. And then she pulled out, which was really very disappointing. But now I think something else is going to happen. It just doesn't seem right that we've got this same it's creating animosity. I think something else should happen. And we are a democracy at the end. I know that they are almost cultish on both sides of this. And then there's this group that's a majority that's kind of in the middle, not a part of each of those cults, trying to figure out what's the best thing for the country. And we've got a challenge on our hands in the U.S. Yeah,
absolutely. So as we look at a macro view of this event, what broad pockets of opportunities do you see within Metaverse or Web3 in the next 10 years?
Well, for one thing, I think governance is a service. Mm-hmm. So governance as a service is going to be very important. Yeah. So I think the Metaverse is going to allow us a new type of government service. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be, and it's going to be virtual, it's going to be spiritual up there, not like all tied to the ground. Yeah. And not tied to real estate. Yeah. And there will be competitors there, so they will be providing service. So I think that's one thing. I think Bitcoin will be the global currency, and there will be other currencies, but I think there will be a run on fiat currencies somewhere between between now, I would predict 7 years from now, between now and 7 years from now, we will have a run on fiat currency. No one's going to want currency tied to a political force, ever, when they don't have to. When we can all operate through a much more trusted, it keeps perfect records, much more ubiquitous currency. Why would we ever go back to a currency tied to some government official and let them just print as much as they want?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think those are the two things that could change. Governments will serve us from the cloud, and we will have currencies, probably Bitcoin, that are accepted globally and trusted globally and decentralized so that no one country will dominate.
Are you referring to a decentralized autonomous government, something like
eventually
pure
we're
democracy where everyone votes on everything?
Yeah, I think we're going to eventually see a liquid democracy where I can say, well, you're really good on this issue. You vote my token on that issue. Yeah. And then you go and you vote it. And then you say, you're good at this, and I'll go vote your token on something else. And eventually we'll all be voting tokens. It's interesting, I just talked to Chile's, and what they're doing is they're allowing people tokens for sports teams, and then they're the ones who vote on what the uniforms look like, what the, how many cheerleaders they have, what the, all that stuff, except maybe picking the soccer team. Eventually, I think governance will be very much like that.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.